I would like to tell you a little bit about a young woman that I met this summer while I was interning in Mbour, Senegal, which is a little bit south of Dakar. So on my first day, when I got to the center, I was introduced to 3 people. All 3 of them were Senegalese, and I was told that they came to the center every day to volunteer. I didn't really know a lot more about them. So one of them was a tailor from the neighborhood who ran a workshop for the children to kind of like teach them how to sew. Another one was a young man who was very involved with the community, doing like a lot of activities with youth, and he was running the literacy workshop. The third one, which is the young woman I'm going to talk about, was her name was Maguette, and she was a young woman. She was 26 years old, and I later found out that she had been married very early at the age of 14, and at the age of 26 she already had 4 children, 3 daughters and 1 son. So throughout my internship I became very close with her, and it was a very interesting relationship I had with her because we didn't share the same language. She only spoke the local language, which is Wolof, and I didn't speak that. But she didn't speak French. But in either case, we developed a very close relationship. But not only that, but she also kind of exemplified something that has to do with like social responsibility surrounding the issue of the Taliban. So before I go on, I'm going to tell you a little bit about who the Taliban are, because I didn't really say it in the video. So the Taliban children are basically they're Muslim disciple children. So the word Taliban comes from the Arabic, which means, and it means student. So these children are often sent off to religious leaders around the country by their parents, and these religious leaders take them in, and they are supposed to get a very thorough religious education from these so-called marabouts. And so these children leave their families and they come to live with these marabouts, and they have a very thorough schedule. So they learn the Quran by heart, but they are like very far away from their families. And some of the religious leaders take very good care of them, but others don't have the means to necessarily give them meals regularly or provide them with like a healthy living environment. So that's basically who the Taliban are. And so throughout my internship, I was kind of wondering why Maguette came to the center every day and volunteered there, because I knew she didn't come from a family with a lot of money, and I knew her husband had a job, but he didn't make that much money. So I was wondering, like, why is she coming there? And I wasn't really able to communicate with her about this, so I'm kind of making a few assumptions, but I think I'm not that far off, hopefully. So I think what she made me realize is that there's kind of this sense of social responsibility of taking care of these children in a way, so that because she's Muslim, and she kind of felt like it was her duty a little bit to take care of these children who were like within this religious education system. And I didn't only see it through her, I also saw it through my host family. Every meal we shared together, there were always leftovers, and after the meal is over, the mom of my host mom would call out. She would just like scream. She would open the door and scream, "Taliban, Taliban," and they would all come into the court, like the little place in front of the house, and she would give them the leftovers. So this was kind of another way of the society as a whole to kind of take responsibility and take care of the children because they didn't necessarily receive these things from their religious leaders, and they didn't have a family to take care of them either. So I think that Margette was like a very good example for this. She came every day. She would come every day at 7 to clean the entire center, and then we would get there at around 8, and we would prepare breakfast together for the children. And every day she would come, and then she would make sure that all of the Talibé children always had clean clothes to wear. I'm putting that in quotations because they didn't really stay clean for that long. And she would make sure that they always took a shower, that they washed their hands. She kind of like, I think, felt a little bit of responsibility to make sure that to whatever extent she could help them with, that she was doing that. And I think it really exemplifies it in a way, the way that this religious practice of the Talibé children and the way that religious education works in Senegal, like it's very integrated into the whole of the society, and it's not only like this is like a separate education system, but it's like the entire society like takes part in it, and it's very much a shared kind of, not experience, but it's a shared, yeah. I don't really know what I'm saying. So yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about.